having grills and barbecues. I hope you get to relax today. It's that way in the United States. And for everyone that is joining on, I wanna challenge you to do something. If you have someone that you know that's a part of your organization right now, and they're not on this conference call yet, you want to shoot out a message to them. I know it's Labor Day, but if you're working every single day, you still have a job, you're employed, and you don't have a choice to be able to do what you want when you want, then it's time to probably work during the Labor Day holiday and get some knowledge this evening. So if you have anyone on your team, shoot them a message, make sure to get it out, because we're going to be talking about something powerful this evening. And I just want to let all of you know that when it comes to me, as a friend, as a family member, as a leader, I love to laugh, I love to have fun, but when we talk about living our lives to our utmost potential, when we talk about getting to the places we were designed to be, I get serious about this, because I know that every single one of you that joined us on this call this evening didn't have to. I also know that every single one of you that joined us are looking and searching for something that will allow you to get more out of life. Something, and it's not, you didn't get involved with ACN because you were excited about gas and electricity. I know you didn't get involved with ACN because you were excited about cell phones. You got involved for the opportunity of what it would mean if you could get paid residual income. What would happen if your bills were covered completely with residual income and you had peace of mind? So that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about some things that are going to help you elevate to that particular level. So with that being said, what I want to share with you all is this. We're gonna play a quick video, and in this video, we're going to be discussing. I'm going to let David Goggins take control for a second. And Mr. Jabri Clemens, give me a thumbs up if you got the message, if you saw what I shot to you, because I want to make sure that we're good to go. If you need you pulling it up right now, perfect. As he pulls it up, I want to give you guys a brief background on myself, because a lot of times, you know, people see us in this business, they see leaders and they say, well, they must have already been successful in public speaking, or they must have already been successful in business, or they must be really sociable. There's so many things that people talk about, and the reason why they give that to the speakers is it's because it means that they're special. And if they're special, then that means they have no control over them being successful themselves. So if they're not successful, they can blame it on the fact that they're not special like these special, selected, chosen few. And it's not the chosen few, it's the few who choose. So we're going to be talking about how you can elevate your game and you can be one of those leaders and to develop yourself. But prior to getting involved, I was a systems engineer. I worked hard. That's what my parents taught me to do. I worked hard in school. I had a job while I was in school. I had 2 jobs while I was in college. It was just something that I learned how to do. In school, I was in advanced placement classes. I was playing varsity sports, multiple things. I was in band while in football, which, if you understand, the band plays in halftime while the football players are in the team room. And I was the only one of 4 people that I knew since the school started that did both. So I was able to see a lot about work and what work does for you. And so a lot of times the doubts that I noticed other people had is because they never worked through their failures. And we're going to be talking about that this evening. But I decided that I needed to have a change, because when my father taught me, he said, Julian, you want to find something you love to do, because it's going to be something you're going to be doing your whole life. When he told me that when I was in high school, I didn't get an excited feeling about it. I got a uneasy feeling in the pit of my stomach. And I don't know if any of you can relate, but I was nervous that I was going to pick what I was going to do for the rest of my life based on just being in high school. Like, I hadn't even learned to drive when he was telling me this. Does that make sense to all of you? And so I picked something that I thought would financially take care of me, but it robbed me of my time. And time's the most, and you might want to write this down, time's the most valuable commodity on the planet, because you never get it back. And people think that they can save time. You can't save time. You can be efficient with your choices, with what you do with your time, but time is going to continue to tick and tick, whether you do anything or not. And so I found myself what everyone around me called successful after college, making a six-figure income, doing the things that most people thought they wanted out of life. But I felt empty. I was in a place where I knew this is not what I wanted. The income was okay, but I missed spending time with my family. I didn't get to see the people that I loved. And so everyone around me kept trying to convince me that what I was doing was great. And now thinking about it, I realize it's because they were still trying to convince themselves that what they did was okay. And so they projected it on me, and I was okay going along with it until my fiance and I found out we were going to have a baby girl. And that was the last straw, because I couldn't see myself, and I envisioned myself looking in that girl's eyes when she was 18 years old and saying, Daddy couldn't figure it out. Daddy tried, but he just couldn't figure out how to get more time with you. And I could think about the question she could ask me, like, why? You're my dad. Why didn't you figure this out? And I didn't want that to happen. And I was open-minded to doing something different. And that difference came through ACN. But ladies and gentlemen, it didn't come through sitting in meetings. It didn't come through listening to great leaders. It came through doing what was uncomfortable and what was necessary and focusing on results. And I was scared to death at every turn. My first leadership conference call, I was in what was called an ETT. It doesn't even exist anymore. And my mentor said, Julian, we're going to have you speak on the leadership. Now, I was in my first 30 days. And I said, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. And he said, why? Don't you speak to your team on the phone? I said, yeah, that's different. I said, you can't put me on there to talk to all these other leaders. And verbatim, I'll never forget, I told him on the phone, see, when I work with my team, I'm building, but if you put me on there, I said, I don't want to mess up anybody's money. I thought I was going to make mistakes. And he said, Julian, the reason why we're having you speak is because of your testimony and what all the success that you're having. And so I was scared to death to talk on just a regular conference call. And so I want you guys to understand that all the fears that you have are the same fears that every leader has. See, the only difference between remaining average and deciding to step up and become a leader is deciding to do whatever is necessary despite the fear. Fear isn't even real. Fear is a negative depiction of the future. I want you to think about that for a second. Faith is positive. Fear is negative. Fear is just negative faith. And when you really think about that, see, my belief system tells me that I was created in my creator's image. And if my creator can think and then speak and create and manifest his reality, there's a good chance I could do that on some level. And every single day, we're creating our own realities based on what we believe. And fear is negative belief. So you attract what you don't want in your life. And what's scary is most people, think about this, most adults can tell you exactly what they don't want in life. If you ask a kid, what don't you want? A kid will look at you confused. If you ask a kid, hey, what do you want? They can tell you exactly what they want. They can tell you what color they want. They can tell you what type they want. When you ask an adult, what do you want? They're confused. But they know what they don't want. And because they put out into the universe what they don't want on a regular basis, the universe doesn't hear, I don't want it. The universe just sees and feels that you're always thinking about that thing and brings you that negative thing on a regular basis. And we don't even know that we're stuck in these loops. And it deals with negative thinking and negative people. And so what I want to do is I want to have Mr. Clemens bring up that video. And I want to let you know, David Goggins if you understand who he is, he's a Navy SEAL. He has a sailor's mouth. If you don't know what that means he curses a lot. In this video, he curses very little for David Goggins, but he throws a few in there. So I hope you're not too appalled. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring it up. I'm gonna play this video, and then afterwards, I'm gonna talk to you about some things and challenge you to do something leading into a major event that's taking place that will create a paradigm shift in your business. So Mr. Clemens, it's all yours, sir.
What is in us, we have no idea until we start trying hard. And I mean really trying hard, where you're obsessed with, hey, this is my new norm. This isn't always fun. It's not always meant to be fun. And that's when you know you're trying hard. We all have two people. And I'm not saying you're crazy. We have the easy voice, which is that 20% telling yourself that I'm easy at 90% of my full potential, maybe 100% at that 20%. That's that voice that we all love. Doesn't care how good you are, just loves you. Just loves you no matter how messed up you are in life. That's where you want to be at. So that's that one voice. This other voice that we walk very far away from is a voice saying, hey man, you ain't doing shit. So we try to get this voice out of our head completely. So what you have to do first is turn up this voice over here. The voice saying things to you that aren't nice. That it's in our head saying, you know what, man, dude, you're not doing shit. I'm not saying to put yourself down. I'm saying listen to the truth. And the truth isn't in the 20%. The truth is in this other part of your brain saying, look, man, you're wasting a bunch of percentage here. We have 80 more percent that we're not tapping into, because in this other 80% is suffering, pain, failure, self-doubt, darkness, and then a whole bunch of light. But to get to this light, you gotta go through all of this shit. So a lot of us know that. But over here, man, this is much better, because I gotta go through this journey that is not fun. This from 20 to 100%, this shit in between is not fun. So we decide to live over here. So everybody goes, how do you do that? It's all back down to a very primitive mindset of we just have to do. It's like breathing. Breathing becomes normal. Like we didn't know that we're doing it. That's how you have to live your life, is what we do now. Because to get to where you want to go, the amount of pain involved, the amount of mental pain, of how many times you're gonna have to do something that you don't want to do to get to where you want to go. There's gonna be more times you do something that you don't want to do than you are gonna want to do it. That's your new norm. So then it's like breathing. And then once you do this over and over and over again, it becomes like breathing. I don't want to live this lifestyle, but to get to the other side of this, I have to.
All right. So guys, that's powerful. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times people judge their success in what they do based on how they feel. You don't know how many times I've heard people say, well, you know what? I don't really feel comfortable doing this part of my business. So maybe this is not the right business for me. Maybe I haven't found my right business yet. I'm just not passionate about doing this right now. And here's what I realized. See, when I was playing football and we would go through conditioning, I wasn't passionate about running. I wasn't passionate about doing stadiums. I wasn't passionate about doing carries where we would carry one of the offensive linemen on our back and try to go up the stairs with him on our back. I wasn't passionate about working out, but I was passionate about getting better for the team. See, we had a strong reason why, and we knew work was necessary. In my house, we had to do the chores before we could go out and play. The work was necessary. See, we had to work undo something we didn't want to do before we can go out and do what we want. And a lot of times nowadays, people are looking for something, a way for things to be easy. See, what I learned a long time ago, and my father taught me this, when you're hard on yourself, life becomes easy. But when you're easy on yourself, life becomes hard. See, if you haven't figured out a way to push through, then there's nothing that you're going to be able to do in any field where you're going to get massive success. See, I was talking to two other people. We had a presentation. The three of us in our corporate careers made 6 figures in engineering. And we started talking about the horror stories. But what both of those people had in common is they had work ethic. Both of those people didn't have to have leaders that had to have a leash on them. They were doing their work consistently without anyone helping them with it. They were self-motivated. These are all qualities of a leader. And whether it's in ACN or in your regular life. See, my friend asked me, he said, man, you have your own business. What is your schedule like? And I said, I get up at 5 a.m. in the morning. I take my dog King on a walk. It wakes me up. And I want you guys to know it's a challenge for me to get up at that time. It is a challenge. And when I wake up in the morning, when I decide, I use the Mel Robbins method, and most of you probably know what that is. If you don't, you count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and get up. You don't give your brain a chance to insert an excuse as to why you need to hit the snooze button or lay down for 5 minutes. But here's what happens. Here's the beauty in it. Because guys, I hope this really resonates with you, because this is my real life. Here's the beauty in it. You start off with 1 win in your day already. See, when you get up and you sit on the edge of the bed and you get out of the bed when your brain didn't want to, when your bed felt comfy, where you felt like it. I know some of you felt this way before. It felt like 10 seconds ago, you just closed your eyes, and now all of a sudden you woke up and you can't believe a whole night of sleep disappeared. Right? And I'm not the only one that has that happen, but I tell myself, who's in control? My mind and my body, or my soul? Last time I checked, my soul was seated in my body because it's mine. The reason why you look at your arm and you call it your arm, the reason why you say these are my eyes, is because you have ownership over the vessel that you are inside. And you have a choice to allow your brain and your body to be in control and allow you to have a lackluster life, or you can decide to gain control. See, your body is like the most powerful wild steed or stallion, and your soul is the rider. And when the soul can gain control over the steed, you can move as one and be the most powerful force in the universe. But it starts with deciding to get up. So when you get up in the morning and you say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you wake up, that's what I do. Then I put on a tank top and some shorts. And if you know about California, in the Southern California in the mornings, the temperature drops, so it's cooler. So I'll go out like that because it wakes a groggy guy up while I'm walking my dog. Soon as he's done, I come back and I do crazy workouts. And I do crazy workouts not because I like to brag about it. It's about building up my mind. Because these are workouts that I know 90% of the United States don't want to do. Okay? So I do some very, they're crazy. If you want to know about them later, you can ask me. But I do them because it builds my mind, and at the same time, it builds my body. So by the time that I'm done working out, by the time that I'm doing all my personal things, by the time that I've done meditation and everything like that, I still have time to shower, get my coffee ready, make a few phone calls, do some personal things for me before we even get on Mr. Thomas's call at 9 a.m. And so the reason why I'm telling this, because every single one of those steps is a small victory. And if by the time I get on Mr. Thomas's call, I've had several small victories, it changes the energy that I'm able to project out into the team if I'm having a conversation. I already started as a winner. Now, what's the opposite? Hitting the snooze button 15 times, then waking up rushing. You start your whole day like someone's chasing you. You're rushing to get ready. You're rushing to take a shower. You have to say, oh, I can't work out today. I woke up too late. Kids, get ready. You have to get them ready. Everything's a rush. By the time you frantically get to Mr. Thomas's call, you're a few minutes late. You start off the day feeling like you're already losing, wondering why you can't win. So you want to gain some control over that. And if you don't have a dog to walk to wake you up in the morning, another thing that me and Mr. Casey Carter do is we take cold showers. And if you don't know what that is, for your health, look it up. What it does for your health is incredible, but it also wakes you up. And it's also something I do not want to do. I love warm showers. So why do I take a cold one? Because I choose not my mind and my body. And it's a mindset building idea. And I want you guys to think about something. If you gain control over the day and you're more confident when you step out into the day, do you also think you might be a little more attractive? See, and if you're a little more attractive, we recruit, we say we think we recruit, but the truth is you can't force anyone to join ACN. Can we agree? You don't have control over who joins ACN. You don't have control over who does this business or who doesn't. You don't have control over who decides to be your customer. All you can control is you. And so if you are putting out a different vibration, if you're putting out a different energy, it can be felt. How many of you have ever been in a coffee shop or been in a store and you saw someone walk in? It could be a man or a woman, and you heard him talking to someone, you looked, and just their whole energy was different to the point where you said, what do they do? Has that ever happened to you? Anyone, if it has, raise your hand so I can see you. If it's happened to you, I want you to imagine if you are that person, how many people recruit themselves because you are the person that they're already asking, I wonder what they do. See, when you're confident in your body because you know you worked out and you worked out every single day, when you're confident because you made a decision, even if you're not working out right now, if you decide to tomorrow, there's nothing stopping you but you. But we start from that because, in my opinion, if you can battle your own mind and win just with the physical stuff, then the ACN stuff becomes a piece of cake. And so most people, they don't do the things necessary in ACN because what's easy to do is also very easy not to do. And they have, and you can tell by the questions that they ask. See, if you ask Mr. Thomas questions, or you ask any of the leaders that were on the conference call, if you ask Carrie Roeder, if you ask anybody that was on the conference call, Natasha, she's going to be on Monday, they have similar answers. And I want to share this with you, and I've shared it with my team because this is important, guys. Listen, if you take someone who's hit regional director, and let's say they were just super magnificent and they hit it and they did it in 4 months. Let's say 4 months. Over the pandemic, they hit regional director, 4 months. And then you put them on a panel with another regional director that hit it in 2 years. They both just hit it, okay? And you say, don't tell us how long it took you. We're just going to ask you questions. And they have a list of questions, and they ask both of those leaders the questions. Do you know that both leaders will have similar responses? Both leaders have similar journeys. The only difference is the time frame. So what's the difference between someone that does it in 4 months versus someone that does it in 2 years. The only difference is that the person that did it in 4 months did the exact same amount of work as the person that did it in 4 years, but all they did was they collapsed the time frames and they did it in a shorter period of time. And so because they did the same things, they did the same work, even though that person's in 4 months, that 4-month person has a similar conversation as the one that did it in a couple of years. So my question to you is, what's stopping you from getting it done this month? Is it fear of not being able to do it? And I want you to really think about this, because this is leadership. Is it because you don't know anybody that's done it in that short period of time? Mr. Thomas will tell you, my upline got to what we call regional director in 4 days. Yeah, I see the looks. Yeah. Yeah. Does everyone know who Sir Roger Bannister is? He's the first person that did a sub 4-minute mile. Back then, all of the experts said it was impossible to do a mile in less than 4 minutes. They said that your heart would explode. These are doctors. They said it is not physically possible for a human being to do a mile in under 4 minutes. And because they were experts, and because human beings listen to experts, they decided to listen. And no one really attempted it until Sir Roger Bannister decided to attempt it. And he did it in less than 4 minutes. Shattered everything. And here's what happened. After that, thousands of people started doing it. In fact, over 50,000 people between then and now have done it. Now even high school kids. One of my friends in high school, Sean Ricketts, was able to do it. Why? Because they started to believe it could be done. See, it had nothing to do with what couldn't be done. It had everything to do, this is the bad thing and the good thing about human beings. The good thing about human beings is if we see someone do it, we know we can do it. But that's a double-edged sword. The bad thing about human beings is if we haven't seen anyone do it yet, most of us will just believe it can't be done. What I just shared with you is my upline did it in 4 days. My question to you is, if it's just numbers and you broke the numbers down, when could you get it done? See, as an engineer, we deal with equations. Ishmael in Mexico, I know you're on here all the time. We deal with equations. Pat Robinson, what I want you to know is we do something called reverse engineering, okay? And what that means is, here's the goal. Here's what I want to get done. Bill Howard, if I want to put in 3,000 points, and I want to do it in a time that most AC and IBOs have never even thought possible, number one, I protect the goal. In other words, I do not share it with all the other IBOs. Why? Because if it's a huge goal that no one's ever done, I share it with my circle that believe in me. And I hope all of you have a mastermind circle of people that believe in you. And if you don't, I know there's a bunch on here that probably do. You need to get one. And so I share it with them just so I keep myself accountable. But I break down 3,000 points, and then I look at it. Let's say I want to do it in 30 days. So any of you that have a calculator, how many points do I need? It shouldn't be that hard. 3,000 points in 30 days. How many points do I need? Okay, 100 per day. Now, some people are saying, oh my gosh, how could you? They will never do it. You will never do it. See, David Goggins saw that the world record for pull-ups was 4,020 pull-ups in a 24-hour period. And he said, wait, someone get a calculator. What is that? Let me break this down. And he started breaking down the numbers of how many pull-ups he would need to do per minute to get 4,020 pull-ups, like the world record. And when he broke it down, he was able to see what that person did to get to 4,020. And he realized that guy's human, I'm human. It was just numbers. Now let's get to work. And what he started doing is training. He did 60,000 pull-ups in training and failing a few times. He failed twice. He did it this third time. But he did 60,000 pull-ups in training to be able to do 4,021 pull-ups and beat the world record. Why am I telling you that? He reverse engineered it. He reverse engineered it. And then he went after his goal. And then he failed twice, but he didn't look at it as failure. He looked at it as, I know what to tweak so that I can hit it next time. He looked at it like a target where he was shooting an arrow to the target and he missed the bullseye twice, but it allowed him to know where he needed to correct his aim to hit the bullseye. Does that make sense to everyone? See, a lot of us look at failure as a bad thing, and we do that because in school, they teach us that failure is an F, and an F, when you bring that home, is bad. But an F in failure is good because it's the equation you need to understand to get to success. So with David Goggins, he figured out what he needed to do every single day, and then he did the work. Every day he trained. Every day he trained. And at the end of his training, he attempted the goal. And ladies and gentlemen, it's just like that in ACN. Whatever it is that you need to get to the next level, if you decided, drew a line in the sand and said it's going to happen this week, or it's going to happen in 4 days like my upline, or it's going to happen this month, you could decide to do it. And then if you reverse engineered it, well, what would 100 points a day look like? Well, see, as a leader, we're looking at this. 10 people enrolled with 10 points is 100 points. But we know Vivint is what? 10 points now. So if you had 5 people with 2 Vivint's, that would be 100 points. So leaders start looking at ways that they can make this happen. Well, how would I get 5 people to enroll in the business? Well, as a leader, I know the numbers. 10 exposures usually leads to 1 to 2 IBOs. So if I needed to get 5 IBOs, then I look at 10, let's say 1. For every 10, I get 1 exposure. I have to do 50 exposures a day. Well, how do I do 50 exposures a day? If I have a team of 5 people, we can break it up between the team. And now I'm quarterbacking, and my team and I are making sure together we're doing 50 exposures a day. And that's going to lead to the 5 that we need. And we're going to make sure they get to 2. And now all of a sudden, you're doing what you broke down and you're on target for your goal. But if you're trying to get your goal by just doing a presentation now and saying, hey, I got 1, or I'm doing 1 today and nothing tomorrow and the next day, but then I got another one on Friday, you're not going to build something. My brother, he shared with the leadership that he wanted to get better at pull-ups. And so he was doing pull-ups before, and he wasn't increasing the amount of pull-ups he could do. But then he started tracking with a goal. And he would say, I did this many today, no matter what, I'm going to do this many pull-ups. And as he tracked with his goal, all of a sudden, he started to see his being able to increase the amount of pull-ups he was doing. Tracking is always a part of it. So if you're tracking, what I shared with the leadership last night is this. You want to have a work-rest ratio. For me, I do 45 minutes, 100% focused, and a 15-minute break, meaning I don't do anything with ACN for 15 minutes. I get refreshed, Then I go all out again for 45 minutes. In that 45 minutes, if you're tracking, what if you decided no matter what, in the next 45 minutes, I'm going to do whatever it takes. Every conversation that I have on social media, every conversation that I have over the phone, I'm going to do 10 video exposures in 45 minutes. Need you to think about that, guys, because here's what I want you to know. We have 45 people on this call right now. If we did 10 exposures over the next 45 minutes each, that is 450 exposures. Do you know what that means? The number's holding true. Just today, there will be 45 minimum new business partners enrolled because of our efforts. In one day, in one 45-minute period, because we decided to get to work. So here's what I want to do. I want to challenge everyone on here. See, between now and tomorrow, you pick the time when you want to do the 45 minutes. You pick the time. But you owe it to yourself to show yourself that you can do it. And decide, I'm going to do it. And when I do it, I do a countdown timer. So I'll bring up on this, and I'll have 45-minute countdown timer, and I'll post it up so that I can see it counting down, and I go crazy. Every conversation is about that. I have Casey Carter, who's on the line. He did it on Friday night. We challenged our leadership. And in the morning, he woke up, he had exposed 12 people. And during Saturday trading, he was waving his phone because he had one that was ready to enroll. Do you guys see what I'm saying? So you can go from zero to production overnight. It's a choice, just like it is to get up. So if you're arguing with your mind right now, just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 it. Set the time that you're going to do 45 minutes and pull the trigger. Because if you don't start tracking and doing that in your life, it's not going to happen in the business. Because at the end of the day, ACN is a real business. In order for you to generate results, you need to do activities that are focused on results. And the video allows you to sort and identify people who want to get involved, people who have questions, or people who lean towards becoming a customer. Okay? And some of you might be thinking, well, what are the right things to say? Here's what I want you to know. You'll learn that on the way. You'll learn that on the way. And if you're okay with learning and not being perfect, you will be successful as a leader in this business. So what I want to do is I wanted to just share that with you guys. And I wanted to open up. If any of you have real quick any questions before we jump off, I want to make sure that I get any of those answered. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me while we're on this afternoon. Let me go ahead and take this. And Jabri, it's up to you whether you want to do them in the chat or you want everyone to be unmuted, or you want to allow them to unmute themselves.
Totally up to you. If you want to, we can allow people to ask questions, but everyone please be respectful and one at a time, one question per person.
Cool, let's do that. Let's do that.
Okay. All right, everyone can now unmute.
Hello, Mr. Lewis. This is TJ in Columbus, Ohio, sir.
Hey, TJ.
Hey there. I appreciate a lot of what you said tonight. Thank you for that. You started sharing your daily mode of operation. I'm still curious, as others might be, to hear beyond the 9 o'clock call, what else you do with your daily mode of operation, sir?
Yeah, that's really simple. So what I do is I chop up my day with those 45-minute increments. So I kind of shared that I just didn't share as I went through the day. So what I'll do is I'll have a 45-minute for my own personal. I'll have 45 minutes or depending upon how many PBZs, private business Zooms we have, I'll have a certain amount of slots set for confirmation calls. And I'm really focused on getting my work done within 4 hours. Okay. So as a leader, that's what I do. If you're doing this part-time, I mean, you can do one 45-minute increment. You can do 2 of them. But what I'll do is say, this 45 minutes is 100% sending out videos personally for me. And when I break, I come back. Next 45 minutes, I'm sending out or I'm connecting with my leaders about their PBZs for the week. Maybe the next 45 minutes, that hour, I'm working with a leader who's launching a new person. Based on my schedule, but I fit them in those 45-minute slots, and I'm always looking at the countdown. Even if my leaders don't know, I'm looking at it because I'm tracking how long it takes me to do things. Even to the point with my testimonial, like I track everything. My testimonial takes 30 seconds. I can feel if I did a 45-second or a 30-second. Zig Ziglar says, if you can it, memorize it, then you're free to learn and understand what's going on in your space. If you don't know what you're going to say and you just start rambling, that's why it takes some people forever to do everything. They don't even know what they're saying. So if you start tracking, you'll be aware of the time it takes you. And then you go from unconscious incompetence, which means you don't even know that you don't even know, right? That's someone, okay, for instance, that's someone that has really bad breath and no one told them, right? They don't even know they're just messing up everything, right? And then there's conscious incompetence. That's when someone says, hey, buddy, your breath stinks. And now he knows, but his breath still stinks. And then there's conscious competence, which means now he's brushing his teeth like he should be, but he has to think about it. And then there's unconscious competence, which is he gets up, brushes his teeth every single day. Okay. So I hope that actually helped your question as well. You can tailor it based on what you want to do, your schedule. But that's how I do mine. And you know, it depends on what I'm doing with my family, what I'm doing with my daughter. It depends, but I have it locked in. I'm in the unconscious competence part where I can say, okay, I'm doing these 45-minute slots. Nothing's happening during this time. I zone out and do 100% focus, and then I can do the other things that I want in the day.
Thank you, sir. Great.
You're welcome. Anybody else? All right.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I hope you guys got some value out of today's Zoom, this leadership. I'm really excited for next week. I can't wait to hear Natasha. I know she's got something up her sleeve for Monday. Listen, guys, listen. I hope you got an army on Monday because she's about to bring the house down. She's been talking different to me recently, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's on another level. So I hope you guys are ready to she's gonna bring it. So with that, I look forward to seeing all of you on Sunday, and on Monday, and I look forward to seeing each and every single one of you over the top. God bless. Have an incredible rest of your weekend, guys.